So we get to start something called complex fractions, and the reason they're called complex fractions is because they are complex. If you notice here on this fraction here, I've got a big fraction with this on the top and this on the bottom, but within the numerator I've got a fraction itself, and within the denominator I've got another fraction. The big thing you have to remember is that when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So this will be 3/5 times 7/6. So I multiplied by the reciprocal of the bottom. And now I have a little bit of canceling to do. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. So on top I get 7 times 1, and on bottom I have 5 times 2, and there's my answer. Now we're going to do the same type of thing, only of course ours get a bit more complicated, such as this. Man, doesn't it look like fun? So, first things first, if I'm looking at this, I've got a fraction on top and I've got a couple fractions on bottom. So before I do my flip-a-roof thing, what I need to do is get this to be one fraction. So I'm actually going to ignore the top for now, and I'm just going to look here and I'm going to say, okay, I need a common denominator, and I need to get it to be one fraction. Now remember, to get a common denominator you have to multiply. I know a lot of people right now want to say, hey, if I add 2 here, it'll be x plus 2, but remember, to get a common denominator you have to multiply. So technically my common denominator is going to be x times x plus 2. So that means I'm going to multiply top and bottom by x and top and bottom by x plus 2. So then I'm just going to go off to the side and work this out. On top, on the left, I get x times 1 is x plus, and then I have to take that 2 and multiply it through, 2x plus 4 all over x times x plus 2. I'm not actually going to multiply those together because that'll probably cancel later. And then simplifying, I get 2x plus x is 3x. So let me go back to my equation I had, or my fraction I had. On top I had 2 over x plus 2. And now with this work that I did here, I'm going to rewrite the bottom as 3x plus 4 over x times x plus 2. So now I've got my big fraction, I've got my top 2 over x plus 2, and the bottom here. So now it's time to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'll rewrite the top, 2 over x plus 2, and I'll multiply by the reciprocal x times x plus 2 over 3x plus 4. And so, does anything cancel? I'm looking for cancellations. I see I have an x plus 2 and an x plus 2, those will cancel. And other than that, nothing else will cancel. So my answer is going to be across the top 2x, and across the bottom 3x plus 4. And that will be my answer. Alright, so now we just get to practice these. Okay, so once again, when you look at this, you're first saying, I need one fraction on top and one fraction on bottom. Since I have two fractions on bottom being added, I need to get a common denominator. And so I'll have to multiply by x plus 1 on the left and x minus 4 on the right. And so if I work that out, I'm going to like to work it out at the side, then I don't have to rewrite everything, and I also don't get in the way. So I'm going to multiply my 1 times x plus 1, that'll just be x plus 1, and then my 3 times x minus 4, so it'll be plus 3x minus 12, over my common denominator of x plus 1 and x minus 4. So now let's rewrite this. So I have a 3 over x minus 4 on the top. On bottom, I go back to this fraction and I simplify it, so I'll have 4x minus 11 over the two bubbles. And then I've got my big fraction, right? I've got my top and my bottom. So I'm going to rewrite the top, 3 over x minus 4. Oh, that's disgusting. Try that again. 3, where am I? Oh, oofta, sorry. Okay, let's try this. 3 over x minus 4, so I'm writing the top fraction, times the reciprocal of the bottom, x plus 1, times x minus 4, over 4x minus 11. And then I'm looking for things to cancel. My x minus 4's cancel, and that looks to be about it. So then my answer is going to be that 3 multiplied through over 4x minus 11, and that will be my answer. So we're just going to practice this over and over again here. Okay, here I'm looking for a common denominator again on the bottom. That's going to be x times x minus 1. So this one needs an x, this one needs an x minus 1, So if I work that out on the side, we get 4x plus 1 multiplied through gives me x minus 1 over my common denominator. So that means this is going to be 2 over x minus 1 over, and if I put that fraction together, and putting this together, I get 5x minus 1 over x times x minus 1. And then I have to multiply by the reciprocal. So x times x minus 1 on top, 5x minus 1 on bottom. And canceling, my x minus 1's cancel. So all that I have left is a 2x on top over 5x minus 1 on bottom. And it looks like that's it for today.